Parental discretion advised.
This civilian talk. If you listen to that bullshit, that ain't even smart. Have you spewing out fake news? Get you ripped apart. But this Mr. P.I. and this civilian talk. Hey.
It's your boy, Mr. P.I. coming straight at you. Bring you that civilian talk. Please wake up American news, because if we don't wake up today, we may not have an America to wake up to tomorrow, you feel me? And you may be wondering why I'm starting off with the Grand Theft Auto original audio and shit. Well, it's because a bus was hijacked and victims were killed during hostage crisis in Atlanta. Did y'all hear about this? Was this on mainstream news? I don't think so. I don't motherfucking think so. We have Seattle to allow illegals to join the police department. Nigga. Oh my goodness. Doctor warns of mRNA, big pharma future and shit with the new shots and shit. I mean, bro, it's about to go down. Just like I told y'all before. Jesse Waters, CNN fell for another hoax. I mean, when don't they fall for a fucking hoax? Pelosi claims responsibility while discussing National Guard on January 6th. Stupid bitch. You told on yourself and you've been covering up this whole time. Oh man, Hunter Biden found guilty on federal charges and shit. I think that's hilarious. Because they only did that because they just convicted Trump and now they're going to start using this nobody's above the law bullshit, but they ain't fucking prosecuting Joe bin Laden or Barack Hussein, Osama bin Laden or George Bush, either one of them. Well, the other one did, so I guess by default we talking about the last one. We're going to talk about the last one? Okay, we'll talk about the last one. Crazy shit. UK grocery chain to sell edible insects as an affordable protein source amid cost of living crisis. Wow. So now you're about to be eating fucking bugs because you can't afford real food. I hope you're proud of yourself, folks. All that virtue signaling bullshit y'all been doing and shit. Well, this is what it got you and shit. I hope y'all ready for it. I'm be back on the other side with even more of this shit. Yeah, shit, boy.
Today's episode was brought to you by Civilian Talk Radio.
Yo, it's your boy, Mr. P. I want to tell y'all, man, we got the podcast player over there at civiliantalkpodcast.com now, you know what I'm saying? All you got to do is hit the check out the podcast button. It's a nice big old player over there, you know what I'm saying? You can check out as many episodes as you want, and we going to be over there waiting for y'all, you know what I'm saying? We done streamlined it, so you don't have to go to your favorite podcast outlet no more. You don't have to sign in to Spotify or iHeartRadio or iTunes. You can just go over to civiliantalkpodcast.com. And if it's not another link, you can just press the episode you want and press play, and you already know. It's your boy. Yeah. Yeah, we back. Yes. I love hosting these podcasts. It makes me feel so good. So good to help you guys. Yes, so good to help you guys. I love it too good to help you guys. But listen, folks, I hope y'all good out there. I just got finished Craken-time-podcast. Y'all know that Joan came out soon as I was done. You know what I mean? Because I should have did it Friday or Saturday, but I've been so... my biological clock is off, guys. My biological clock is off. There's a lot of shit going on out there, too. Like, some real shit. It's a lot of strange happenings going on out there. And I'm just trying to take it all in. You know what I mean? Hope y'all got your weed ready, your lighter handy, or your drink in hand, because it's about to go down. You know, it's hard. It should have had you stressed the fuck out. Should have had you stressed the fuck out, is. You know what I'm saying? For real, though. Nah, man. Shout out to my man Matt Blake from Texas and shit for winning his city council seat 4. Yeah, I mean, shout out to my man for that. You know, love that boy. Actually, I'm about to, get a little private conversation going with him and shit. Believe it or not, he actually gave me some real good advice when I started this podcast early on. I was probably around like episode 20 when he gave me some decent advice. He was like, man, just hang in there and shit. Like, that was the best advice anybody gave me. It's like, yo, you might not see the results you want at first, but eventually it's going to mold into something that's more beautiful than you ever expected and shit. And I took that advice and I kept on running, and you know what I'm saying, that advice was priceless. So thank you, Matt. Shout out to you and congratulations again, bud. You know what I'm saying? I will be getting in contact with you ASAP. We're going to set up a call because, it's good to have people in high places, and it's even better to have people in high places that will tell you how to get into a place just as high and shit. So you already know. We appreciate you, dog, and I hope you're doing the dance right now. Yeah. Shout out to you, man. Real shit. Much love. And again, we appreciate you, bro. But yeah, folks, you know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all, y'all caught up in the Trump versus Biden shit right now and shit. And that's understandable. I get it. I understand completely. It's a lot of things going on. It's kind of crazy, though, right? That, we looking around and motherfuckers is waking up left and right. You know what? More people are actually listening to this show now because of how accurate we were in the post that we put up in 2019 and 2020. And I'll be, when Facebook bring it back up, like, look, you posted this 5 years ago and shit. And they say, like, Dr. Francis A. Boyle confirms that the coronavirus is a biological weapon and shit with HIV proteins and shit. And now that shit coming out in the mainstream media and y'all see me repost it from 5-6 years ago, y'all like, what? He did know what he was talking about. Damn, I thought he was a whack job conspiracy theorist. I thought he was. But turns out I'm not a whack job conspiracy theorist. You know what I'm saying? I'm a on point, nice young man that's trying to put you on to some game. Trying to put you on to how to stay alive and shit. And y'all scolded me for it. Scolded. But you know what? That shit ain't stopped me because I knew the devil was just using y'all to get me to stop trying to save y'all life. And God sent me on this mission. So therefore, fuck the devil and shit. You know what I'm saying? Fuck that bitch ass nigga and shit. You know what I mean? With his own pitchfork or whatever the fuck that shit is. Fucking right under the tail with that joint. Womp womp womp. Right in the gigi and shit. You know what I'm saying? He might like it. I don't know. He might like it. But folks, we just found out that Nancy Pelosi, that Trump was fucking right when he said he tried to set up the National Guard. And, well, y'all just found out we was right. But we just got super mega ultra confirmation that Nancy Pelosi intentionally left the Capitol unsecured so she could cancel the 10-day investigation. And that's what they did. You mean they canceled the 10-day investigation where it would have stopped the certification of the election and shit, and Biden would have had the motherfucking go through the vetting process to make sure all the motherfucking votes was legit, and they decided to buy straight past that. They bypassed it and said, fuck it. They was like, so, you mean, we don't even care. We're gonna do whatever the fuck we feel like doing. And now they at a point where they done fucked up, folks. They done fucked up like big time. Hot boys. They done fucked up like super huge. and let us find out this information. That's why I love this show. That's why I like doing this, investigating and digging in and seeing what's going on, because the mainstream media not going to report it to you and shit. The mainstream media told you that Nancy Pelosi's wrap-up smear was the truth. It's not the truth. It's a false reality. It's a lie. We all know it. We knew it then, but didn't nobody want to accept the fact that, it was a lie and it was a false reality. Didn't nobody want to accept that? Why? Why didn't nobody want to accept the fact that that was a false reality? I mean, very good question and shit. Probably mass formation psychosis, where all y'all was fucking brainwashed by the TV and the mainstream media, parroting the same thing 24 hours a day. Hate Trump, hate Trump, hate Trump, hate Trump. And that 24-hour news cycle turned into a 12-hour news cycle and then to a 6-hour news cycle when it was continuously hate Trump, hate Trump, hate Trump. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. You mean, look, I'm not the type of guy that just make up shit. I'm not the type of guy that just want to gloat. I'm not the type of guy that just want to be like, hey, I told you so and shit. That's not fair. You know what I'm saying? That's not what I'm into. You mean, I'm really more so into attempting to save what you got left of a life. You understand? People are going to try to take you out, whether you know it or not, whether you care or not. People are going to try to take you out. And what's happening is they're getting more aggressive with the shit. Way more aggressive. And it's not a good look, and it's not safe. It's not safe for any of us, because this lefty loserism, this socialism, this communism that's rolling in, it's going to fuck all of us up. It's going to fuck up the money. It's going to fuck up the whole playing field for everybody. All y'all entrepreneurs and motherfuckers out there trying to get motherfucking dough and trying, just, keep your head screwed on tight and shit. You know what I'm saying? That shit going to be next to impossible, folks. It's going to be next to impossible, man. And when they cut off the water, when they cut off the resources, which they already doing, the supply chain is going to shit. You know what I'm saying? When they, roll out this bird flu shit and tell you need a vaccine for it, and when they roll out smallpox and disease X and all this cool shit and keep lying to you just like they did with COVID, so they can get you the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? That's when y'all gonna realize, like, wow, this was a coordinated plan for destruction of humanity. Why did we fall for this? Well, because that's what people tend to do. We tend to believe the first thing we see with no investigation, especially if we think that the person that's telling us has an expertise in telling us things like that. So, for instance, you thought Dr. Fauci said, you thought it was correct for Dr. Fauci to say, wear a face mask and keep 6 feet of distance and shit. We told you that shit was capped. The mask was giving out fucking bacterial pneumonia and shit, and y'all niggas kept wearing the shit, the same one, for days and days and days and days and days and days and days, and then they called that shit long COVID because you was giving yourself bacterial pneumonia. And what ended up happening? Anybody want to take a try, take a guess, take a spiel? What ended up happening, folks? You know what I'm saying? He just came out in the Senate and said he made all that shit up. That's what happened. He just came smooth out in the Senate and said he made all that shit up. Think about the ramifications of that. You took the expert advice from a so-called expert opinion and shit, and then at the end of the fucking day, what ended up happening? You found out it was a lie. You found out it was deceit. You found out it was capola. And what you get from it? Anybody want to try? Anybody want to take a guess at what they got from it? I mean, bro, I'm sitting here with you, man. I'm sitting here with you, man. You know what I'm saying? I was put under the same intense scrutiny as you was. I had to look at the 2020 election like you did. I had to see the January 6th inauguration like everybody did. I had to be disgruntled in my own fucking spare time and shit. Why? Because they was openly telling you if you was disgruntled in the street, then, you know what I'm saying, you was a potential terrorist. So I'm a potential terrorism and shit because, you know, of the way I feel about motherfuckers in the streets. Can't even have an opinion. But you know what? That shit ain't even stopped me. It's just like how we started off the show and shit. I had 95 episodes and they took the whole catalog. Nope, no more catalog for you. Only proof we got that those episodes even exist now is the memories on Facebook where I posted the pictures of, hey, check out this episode. Then you should have checked this one out. Oh, you should have knew about this one. Oh, you should have found out about this one and shit. Know what I'm saying? What? Like, it's... Bro, I tried so hard to keep it real with y'all. I tried so hard to just be, you know, someone you can... you know, trust, you know, someone that can be there for you, someone that can, you know, help you figure out the things that's, you know, difficult to understand. All I'm trying to do is add some sensibility to the situation. I'm trying to make it an easy read. I'm breaking down the situation for dummies. That's what this is. You know what I mean? The situation for dummies. When you listen to civilian talk, it's motherfucking the how to stay alive for dummies. You know, and that's what it is, man. That's what it is. I'm gonna keep steady and shit, but I got so much interesting shit going on today and shit that I'm gonna just jump straight into the show. You know what I mean? I could just ramble on for another 17 minutes, 16 minutes, and 16 and a half minutes. But we actually going to start the show just because we got a ton of news, a ton of video clips. We got a ton of articles to read and shit. And, you know, kind of want to get there. And I just finished Craken-time-podcast. So I literally got to talk for a complete hour on that podcast and shit. So I think I kind of blew my wad. My first 30-minute wide and shit. I blew that an hour ago and shit on Craken-time and shit. You know how that shit go. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. And the Phillies is trying to make a rally in the top of the fifth inning right now versus the Orioles and shit. They down 4-0 and shit, but they trying to make it do what it do. So I'm about to sneak peek a little bit of this while I give y'all the motherfucking news. And y'all know how I multitask. I'm pretty good with it and shit. So we going to get going. We going to get the motherfucking show popping and shit. Jesse Waters. CNN fell for another hoax. Now, what hoax, you may be asking? You may be like, hold on, CNN fell for a hoax? How could they do that? Well, because that's what CNN do. They're idiots and shit, you know what I'm saying? Don't take my word for it. Take their word for it and shit. They fucking stupid as hell and shit. And you know it had to be Trump related and shit because that's what they tend to do. But first, you know, he's going to discuss how they got their ass zipped by the Democrats, got their ass whooped by the fucking Republicans in the motherfucking congressional game and shit. It was like 33-11 or some shit. I'm like, damn, it was baseball, nigga. That's a lot of fucking runs. 33. That just goes to show how soft Democrats actually are. They so weak and frail and weenies and shit. Like they softer than drugstore cotton and shit on a hot summer day. You know what I'm saying? Drugstore cotton on a hot summer day feels like air. You know what I'm saying? Air on your skin. But Jesse Waters, CNN fell for another hoax and shit. Y'all know I like to listen to lefty loserism go down the drain. Let's do it.
A swing and a miss. Those are the words a batter never wants to hear. But at last night's congressional baseball game,
Put
it's
your
what
lighters
Democrats heard.
A rock and a wind from Stubbe. And a swing and a miss. And a swing and and a miss. Dan Goldman from New York. And a swing and a miss that will end the inning.
Republicans roughed up Democrats 31-11.
Wow.
And yep, that's a baseball score. Maybe a little preview of what's coming in November. If you think about it,
That's worse than some
baseball's kinda like
NFL
politics.
scores and shit.
If you keep striking out, you put the other team back at bat. All
4-1.
season, Democrats have been striking out with hoax after hoax. The dictator on day one, bloodbath and revenge.
This nigga
Democrats just
moonwalking
put
and
the other
shit.
team back at bat in their own home stadium, Washington, D.C. Donald Trump back on Capitol Hill for the first time in almost 4 years. The former president spent the day meeting with House Republicans, senators, and businessmen.
This was a great meeting. There's tremendous unity in the Republican Party. We want to see borders. We want to see strong military. We want to see money not wasted all over the world. We have great common sense. A lot of very smart people in this room and a lot of people that love our country. They love our country beyond just about all else. And the only thing that maybe supersedes it is their family and maybe their faith in certain instances, and that's very nice. But they want this country to be great again, and we're going to make it great again.
Donald Trump's running around D.C. trying to unite the party and the country
And we're gonna
because
make it
teamwork
great
makes
again.
the dream work. And
We're
we've
gonna
never
make
seen
it.
the Republican Party this united under Trump. They even gave him a birthday cake.
Let me make a wish. And you can't say what the wish is, but it'll have something to do with this room.
He wants a new driver.
They put 45 on his cake and shit.
There was so much
You
love
always
and
pointing
unity in
at
the room,
motherfuckers. Yeah,
it
you-
broke Adam
yeah,
Schiff's brain.
yeah.
Watch.
Guilty, 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 guilty,
Schiff.
guilty, 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 guilty.
Is you
guilty,
counting on your
guilty,
fingers?
Guilty, 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 guilty.
Schiff's
how many
battle
was
cry
that,
was
Schiff?
heard by the media,
I ain't
and
even
they
try
went
to
to
count.
work
Did anybody count
doing
that?
what they do best.
Apparently, the former president made reference to Hannibal Lecter.
Hannibal
and said,
Lecter.
Nice guy, quote, he even had a friend over for dinner. So we've seen Trump out on the campaign trail praising Hannibal Lecter. Apparently, he did it again this morning. Not sure we fully understand the context of that.
We weren't inside the room, but neither was CNN, and that's the point. So we did what journalists do. We went to our sources who
Investigate.
were actually there. Did Trump really call a flesh-eating serial killer a nice guy? No. Trump was joking that if he said something about Hannibal Lecter, the fake news media would say he was praising him. And CNN took the bait.
Absolutely.
And that
They
wasn't the
always
only
do.
hoax.
They're fucking idiots, though.
I'm getting word, from my producers, we have a new hoax alert.
New hoax alert.
New hoax alert. New hoax alert.
He said, as has gotten a lot of publicity, and we broke this, that he doesn't like Milwaukee. It's a horrible city, he says. The campaign has pushed back on that. Everybody comes out and says he didn't say it. Of course he said it. I mean, that is according to almost everybody in the room.
But everybody in the room says he didn't say it. As soon as the news broke, people inside of the room debunked it. A congressman says, I was in the meeting. President Trump never disparaged Milwaukee.
That was nice.
Another one. I was in the room. President Trump did not say this. Another. Trump was specifically referring to the crime rate in Milwaukee. Here's what Trump had to say.
Democrats are also hitting you on this comment that you made about Milwaukee, the host city for the RNC, for the convention, and they seem to believe that you said that it was a horrible city. Can you just nip this in the bud and clarify?
It's
what
a
you
horrible
meant?
city.
Well, I think it was very clear what I meant. I said we're very concerned with crime. I love Milwaukee. I have great friends in Milwaukee. But it's, as you know, the crime numbers are terrible, and we have to be very careful.
So how's the media directly quoting him if they're not in the room with them? And then telling the people inside of the room that they're wrong. It's what Nancy Pelosi calls the wrap-up smear.
The wrap-up
smear your
smear.
opponent with lies. The press
Yep.
writes about it. That validates
Like he
it.
was.
And then the
It was his
politicians
fault
run
for
with it.
January 6th.
And as soon as
That's
the
coming
media
up next.
reported the hoax, the mayor of Milwaukee rushed to the camera.
Donald Trump wants to talk about things that he thinks are horrible. All of us lived through his presidency, so right back at you, buddy.
Joe Biden saying, quote, I happen to love Milwaukee. He obviously didn't write that himself. Kamala Harris saying Milwaukee's a beautiful city. And for the record, Milwaukee was the third most violent city in the nation. Third most. So when primetime goes to the convention, Johnny's going to probably have 2 bodyguards. Democrats are down late in the game. Your pitcher's throwing trash. You can't yank them because you have no bullpen. Look at Kamala. So you just have to keep throwing trash. Here's more. The media wants you to think Trump spends every waking second plotting revenge.
I'm told there's a similar dynamic behind closed doors when he meets with advisors or other Republicans where he'll talk about revenge, sometimes get a look like, well, do you really mean that? And he makes it clear he does. This is retribution. That's the word that has been the center of this Trump campaign for a year now. There are not going to be grown-ups in the room this time. They're not going to be guardrails. No. It is just going to be true believers and loyalists. And if Trump says he wants revenge, if Trump says I want to target a particular person or institution, they're going to do just that.
Who are these Trump advisors that are leaking this BS to MSNBC? They don't exist. It's made up. Trump's people don't talk to this guy. Look at him. He's on Morning Joe.
Yeah, lefty loser.
Politico says Trump went to Washington to harness the power of Congress to go to war against the Democrats. Really? People inside of the room told us revenge never came up. It was the economy, foreign policy, and election strategy.
Yeah, but they got a fearmonger, though.
A feeling that Washington hasn't felt in 4 years. That's not revenge. That's success. And like Trump says, success is his revenge. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest
interviews. They got a fearmonger, though, folks. You know what I'm saying? It's just like Nancy Pelosi, nervous Nancy Pelosi, bitch. Yeah, I mean, said January 6th was Trump's fault, but here she is on camera saying the lack of security is her fault.
Chairman of the House Administration Subcommittee on Oversight. Chairman, thank you so much for joining us tonight. So your committee made the big news. Your committee released that video footage showing former Speaker Nancy Pelosi on tape admitting responsibility for not having the National Guard protect the Capitol building against the January 6 riots. What's the fallout of this? How will this impact the election?
Oh.
Well, I'm not, I think it's probably will have some impact on the election. None of us know that, but our objective is to get to the truth of what really happened. And this was really groundbreaking information because we know that the select committee, her partisan select committee, spent about $20 million just trying to put the blame on Trump.
Yep.
But in the heat of the moment, she admitted that it was really her responsibility because we know that the chief of police, Chief Son, had made numerous requests for the National Guard to come to the Capitol, but somewhere in leadership that was denied multiple times. And as we heard on this tape, which we just received on Friday from HBO, that she took full responsibility for being the one that the National Guard was not there to assist the Capitol Police.
Let's watch what Nancy Pelosi said.
We have responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff?
We didn't ask you in the middle of the thing, Nancy. We asked you days in advance and shit, and you denied it. So how is somebody asking you in the middle of the thing when they been asked you, Nancy?
Should we call the Capitol Police? I mean, the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with? They thought that
because you didn't drop the request, and that's what the motherfucking check.
Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They thought that they had sufficient resources.
That is not a question of how they had. They don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more.
So here's the question. Should voters accept the January 6th committee report? The question is, you point out, HBO, why did HBO wait until now to turn over this never-aired footage?
Well, because the election coming up.
Daughter who took the footage turned it over to the January 6th committee because prosecutors have cited that committee's proceedings in cases against Trump and his supporters.
Right, and why didn't the select committee
They jumping on the Democrat Party. They jumping.
archive that video footage that they had and pass it on to our committee? I mean, we've got over 900 videos and documents that they did not archive that they should have. So we spent almost a year just trying to recreate all the information that they had received. And I can tell you, this is just a drop in the bucket of the misinformation that is in that select committee report. From the charges that the President, Trump, tried to take the steering wheel of the SUV. We have the driver of the SUV who
never tried to do
that never happened. But that transcribed interview was never given to the public.
Nope.
We have other Secret Service
Well, it
agents
was.
who
We
say
had
the
it.
other
We had
accusations
it.
they
We
made
just
never happened.
allowed ourselves to
and
get
that
out.
was never released to the
shouted
public.
and
So
shit.
what we have is a report from the Select Committee that was information, evidence was cherry-picked to create a false narrative, and anything that was contrary to the narrative that they want, that Trump orchestrated this, Trump organized the attack, he was the reason, all of that information was hid from the public eye, and in some cases it appears that was destroyed.
You know, it was a terrible day. Pelosi went on MSNBC to call remarks about her comments on the video, quote, revisionist history. The people are asking, how is it revisionist if she's the one admitting it on tape? But, you know, a spokesperson for Nancy Pelosi says, quote, Speaker Pelosi sprang into action that day, mobilizing the defense of the Capitol, that these are cherry-picked out-of-context clips, that former Speaker Pelosi is not in charge of the security of the complex. You know,
She the Speaker of the House.
There's a lot here to unpack. I mean, this 2022 House GOP report, congressional leaders, including Pelosi, chose not to deploy the National Guard early over concerns of optics amid the Black Lives Matter riots in 2020. And a Senate report alleges Homeland Security had information beforehand about possible chaos, but failed to warn about it.
Yes. Yes, and we know that intelligence was there, that there was a high probability of violence at the Capitol, against Capitol, on January 6th. That information was passed to the Capitol Police Intelligence Division, but it never went any further. Well, at least it didn't make it to the chief of police, and so he was caught flat-footed because whether it was purposefully held back or just for incompetence,
it was
we don't know.
purposely
That's what
held
we're looking
back.
into. But we do know, as I said earlier, that the chief had made multiple requests for National Guard, that someone in Democrat leadership, whether it was the Sergeant at Arms or the staff of Pelosi, did not like the optics, so they turned it down. And if we take what the speaker said at face value in this video, which is not edited, so I don't know how you cherry pick something. This is her daughter filming it. And this is the full videos. I mean, this is their videos. If we take her at her word there, this is the first she knew of any request for the National Guard, then she should be looking at her staff instead of spending $20 million trying to blame it on Donald Trump.
Chairman Loudermilk, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate you very much.
My
Good
pleasure.
to see you.
Crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, folks. Come on, folks. Y'all know what time it is and shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's bugged out. So we gonna keep the party rolling and shit. You know what I'm saying? Trump names his VP. Now, this is just funny as hell and shit from a comic, Tyler Fish or some shit like that, but he's funny as hell. Let's check it out.
Campaign has begun vetting VP candidates. The list includes Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance, Tim Scott, some others. What are your thoughts about this? What do you think the president is contemplating?
He should do what the Democrats do. They love having the first, right?
Yeah.
Kamala, the first black, the first Indian black woman, the first autistic hyena, would someone say? The first one.
The first autistic hyena.
You know, so we're going to have the first blind, bisexual, bipolar, biodegradable, Native American, Chinese, trans, child of color, and it's going to be so great.
But no, I think he should think outside the box, you know? You know, have like a podcaster, someone's good at Ben Shapiro would be a good VP.
Oh, yeah.
But I think he'd be cutting to ads too much. Okay, everybody, my fellow Americans, we are at war. Bombs are going off because China got a hold of our nuclear codes. We did not protect our online data. That's why you have to use ExpressVPN. Use code THEBOMB for 10% off, or maybe Bill Burr. He's funny. He should have a comedian open for him, and everybody would tune in, right? You know, my wife came home. She's watching The View, right? We're making it illegal, right, on Monday. It's called Bill's Bills, right? It's going to be 5 years in jail for every minute you watch The View, right? That's brutal. And then Trump comes out, and I think that would be a great idea.
I like these ideas.
He should do what the Democrats do. They love having the
funny.
first, right?
Yeah.
Kamala, the first black, the first Indian black woman, the first autistic hyena with so much. The first one.
Autistic hyena.
So we're going to have the first blind, bisexual, bipolar, biodegradable, Native American, Chinese, trans, child of color, and it's going to be so great.
Biodegradable.
I think you should think outside the box, you know? You know, have like a podcaster, someone's good at Ben Shapiro would be a good VP.
Oh, yeah.
But I think he'd be cutting to ads too much. Okay, everybody, my fellow Americans, we are at war. Bombs are going off because China got a hold of our nuclear codes. We did not protect our online data. That's why you have to use ExpressVPN. Use code THEBOMB for 10% off, or maybe Bill Burr. He's funny. He should have a comedian open for him, and everybody would tune in, right? You know, my wife came home. She's watching The View, right? We're making it illegal, right, on Monday. It's called Bill's Bills, right? It's going to be 5 years in jail for every minute you watch The View, right? That's brutal. And then Trump comes out, and I think that would be a great idea.
That would be fucking fantastic and shit. It would be, literally. It would be fucking fantastic. Can we get Bills going and shit? You know what I mean? I think I would prefer the fucking Trump being his own VP and shit. Fuck it. I'm going for it. Could say Trump and Trump. Let him be his own VP and shit. Let's make America great again and shit. I mean, they literally are motherfucking, running down on Trump for all this money laundering shit. And the fucking Clintons and the Obamas been money laundering since forever. I mean, every president has money laundered and shit. And they talking about this nigga money laundering and shit for the Stormy Daniels, nigga. Like, I'm saving money on this bitch. Like, horse face. Like, it's crazy. You got camel face Kamala, then horse face fucking Stormy and shit. You got all these fucking animal face bitches and shit all hate Trump for some reason. I mean, it's fucking goofy. It's goofy as hell. Pope Francis, visibly uncomfortable and bizarre moment with Biden. Liz McDonald, let's do it.
Joining us now from House Intelligence and House Foreign Affairs, Congressman French Hill. Congressman, welcome to the show. Let's get right at it. Show the new video coming in of this bizarre moment. His Holiness Pope Francis looking surprised, visibly uncomfortable as Joe Biden goes in close and rubs his forehead with a leader of 1.4 billion Catholics worldwide. But, Congressman, the Biden team is furious about coverage of Biden's performance at the G7 in Italy. The Biden White House is basically saying everybody should deny what everyone could see on video. Biden appearing frail and confused. Congressman,
this nigga strolled off. He lunching.
It affects the future of America.
Like, yeah.
Your take on this, what you're saying.
You did a good job. They had to move the picture and shit. Everybody moved over toward this nigga like, hold on, let's go over here toward Biden.
Shocking Joe Biden video that reinforces why Americans have him at the lowest possible approval rating. We've gone from coming up behind young ladies to now butting heads with the Pope. I guess he's begging for absolution for all his failures as president. But in any event, he's doddering on the world stage when the world is burning. We need strong executive leadership in conjunction with the Congress, and that's why I'm so hopeful that we are going to have the voters grow our majority in the House, let us have a Republican majority in the Senate, and bring President Trump back to the White House.
You know, what is really going on behind the scenes with this president? Because, you know, the British and Italian press are reporting foreign diplomats and their aides are, quote, raising new doubts about Biden's health after what they witnessed at the G7. They're reporting, quote, it's the worst Biden has ever been. It's embarrassing. He appeared to be losing focus and concentration at meetings. So what you're in D.C., what really is the state of this president? Because perceptions matter. This matters for America.
Well, when you're on the globe stage, you need to project authority, power, and leadership. And Joe Biden is not projecting any of those three things.
He projecting shit into his pants.
They've agreed to this lackluster arrangement to use immobilized Russian assets to benefit Ukraine, when Congress gave Joe Biden the authority to seize those Russian assets, put them in a trust fund for the benefit of Ukraine, and lead Europe by encouraging those countries to do precisely the same thing, and yet he's come home without that deal. It's very concerning to me. We need American leadership, and Joe Biden is not expressing it on the world stage.
You know, Axios headlined its story about the summit saying, quote, world losers gather at the G7, saying the majority, Biden, Justin Trudeau, Francis Macron, German Chancellor Scholz, approval ratings historically.
Biden at 37%, Justin Trudeau at 30%, Scholz at 25%, UK Prime Minister at motherfucking what is this? What's the percentage on this nigga? 25%. And Macron just got voted out apparently and shit. He's salty as hell right now.
Low, below 40%. That the overseas players, quote, may lose their jobs. How does this impact Biden? How in the race? And how, by the way, we're going to get into how would Trump handle all of Russia, Ukraine. Take that on first, though.
Yeah, we're in a time of transition right now. And you're right, among the leadership, but we've got elections in the UK on July 4th. We've got elections elsewhere in Europe and in Canada and in the United States. This makes it an even more dangerous time in the world where world leaders need to stick together and stick to the message, because authoritarians like Xi, like the Ayatollahs in Tehran, like Putin in Moscow, will all attempt to take advantage of this unrest in the democracies and the the elections that we have before us.
Congressman, how would Trump handle Russia, Ukraine? You point out that they're offering a $50 billion loan based on interest profits from frozen Russian assets to stop, to help Ukraine with its war with Russia. But Russia's doing saber rattling off of Cuba with a show of naval force and a nuclear-powered submarine, the first since the Cuban Missile Crisis. How would Trump handle Russia, Ukraine?
Look, I don't think Trump would have been in the position of appeasement. It was Donald Trump that armed Ukraine in the first place, whereas President Biden just offered MREs and blankets. It was President Trump that blocked the Nord Stream pipeline from Russia to Germany, said it shouldn't be built. President Biden approved it, and then he turned around and
blew it up.
Declined to approve the Keystone pipeline here in America. He made Russia stronger and the U.S. weaker. And so I think first and foremost, President Trump wouldn't be part of the appeasement we've seen of Joe Biden, both in Russia, China, and of course in Iran, where it's the worst.
Congressman Hill.
It's just goofy shit, folks, because these niggas, they hooking up the world, and the whole time we fucked up. Like, y'all don't feel like y'all pockets not fucked up. Like, you mean, on some real shit. Like, y'all not feeling the effects of this shit on some, like, come on, let's keep it real, man. And niggas is losing elections everywhere, bro. This shit just not in our backyard. It's everywhere. Motherfuckers is losing elections. And I appreciate it and shit. Keep on fucking losing, because this is just, it kind of shows you the trajectory of the world. We tired of the lefty loser, communist, socialist, weirdoism, transgender bullshit. That shit has literally plateaued, and now it's back on, it's about to come back down and shit. You know what I mean? And we are on the way back up. As they come down, we go back up and shit. You know what I mean? It's a high pressure, low pressure type thing and shit. So you already know.
Lefty losers got trounced in elections all over Europe. Their salty tears were flowing like the Danube River. Bad news for Macron and his cronies. I'm getting flashbacks.
J'ai décidé de vous redonner le choix de notre avenir. Je dissous donc.
In fact, Marine Le Pen got more than double Macron's vote. The French president got pummeled so bad he was forced to call parliamentary elections for the end of the month.
The rise of nationalists and demagogues is a danger for our nation, but also for Europe, for France's position in Europe and in the world.
The brown on the map is where people voted for Le Pen.
Everywhere.
She won every single department besides Paris. She might even now go on to have the largest delegation in the European Parliament, ahead of Germany's CDU. Shit libs across the continent be like. I literally moved country to avoid the right wing. Yeah, my heart goes out to you, love.
Hi guys, Ricky G here, wellness and beauty influencer. As a celebrity, I know all about stuff, like science and politics.
It's all about stuff.
So trust me when I tell you who you should vote for. If you don't vote the right way, that's like a hate crime, and it makes me sad and angry, and I'll leave the country. And you don't want that.
If you're celebrating the rise of the far right in Europe, I'd recommend acquainting
Ricky
yourself
Gervais
with something
is funny
called
as shit.
history.
He on our side.
I didn't know that. I just, you're telling me now for the first time.
Yeah, mate, I'm a historian. This is just like Germany in the 1930s. History's repeating itself. I'm a very smart historian. When I said we were returning to everything 2016, I wasn't joking. In Belgium, Prime Minister Alexander De Croo literally started blubbering after finding out his party got just 5.8% of the vote.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Oh, I can't believe it. Oh, 5%. Oh, just 5%.
He then promptly resigned. Bye. While the populist Vlaams Belang Party and the New Finnish Alliance massive
only 5%.
At a certain point, I'm afraid we're just going to have to admit it. A surprisingly large proportion of Europeans are actually quite racist. Yeah, mate, just keep calling them racist. I'm sure that'll work. In Germany, the political establishment lowered the voting age to 16, thinking it would obliterate the right-wing vote. Well, that didn't go to plan, did it? The AfD came equal first place with the CDU in the youth vote of people aged under 24. Overall, performing beyond their expectations,
I don't know who
coming
these parties
second and
is.
registering
Got like
their
2,000
best ever
parties.
result.
How many niggas y'all got in there?
Young voters turning right and leaving the Green Party.
Oh no, the Greens are losing.
European Greens lost nearly all the gains
The Greens
they made
put
in
up
the last
fucking traffic
elections just
cams
5
that
years ago.
charged you for driving.
Anyway, who's going to make all our energy bills completely unaffordable? Banners from driving petrol cars and slap a huge tax
The
on
Green
our meat
Party.
consumption now?
Devastating.
It's a question I've heard so
Devastating.
many times before. Paul, you're nearly pushing middle age. All right, rude. How come you look 10 years younger than you are? Only 10.
You're
It's
trying
not
to get
rocket
me with
science.
this
It's
T.H.
called
Hanley
regular
shit.
people indoctrination. The establishment was shaken to the core, bemoaning once again that democracy was under dire threat because people democratically voted for candidates they don't like. Oh yes, the biggest threat to democracy. Shakes notes. Elections.
The rise of nationalists and demagogues is a danger for our nation.
What's happening in the European elections should terrify us all. The morally supreme last guardians of democracy, terrified by a democratic vote. No! When around a third of the continent is voting for parties labelled far right, and 70% of Europeans think their country takes in too many immigrants, at what point do they acknowledge they're not far right? They're just right. It's not 2014 anymore, is it? The EU is basically now more right-wing than the UK, and that's got Ramona's hopping mad. British libtards. We can escape fascists like Rishi Sunak by rejoining the EU. The EU. Maybe we should rejoin after all. Oh yeah, and apparently anyone who wants France to remain French, Sweden to remain Swedish, and Germany to remain German, anyone who doesn't want their cities and suburbs filled with tower blocks full of infinity Bamalians is basically an extremist incel. We were all warned about the rise of the far right and incels. The attack on woke feeds into this dangerous rhetoric. The surge in support for the far right across Europe is a warning for us all. Right, because all those farmers in their 50s and 60s having their farms shut down and their livelihoods destroyed, taxed into oblivion by climate change bureaucracy. Turns out they're all just incels stewing with resentment in their mum's basements. In yesterday's European elections, I suffered a crushing personal defeat, along with my comrades in Greece and Germany. Oh no, the Greek communists suffered a crushing personal defeat. This is terrible news. Meanwhile, in the the UK, polls suggest Farage's Reform Party could end up getting a higher vote share than the Tories. It really is time for Conservative candidates to stand down and step aside for the real opposition to Labour.
Look, if Rishi does resign, I would have thought that they would probably end up rather like they did in the European elections in May 2019, hovering around about 8%. 0 seats, 0 seats, 0 seats, 0 seats, 0 seats, 0 seats, 0 seats.
They got 0 seats.
The whole game is changing. This old tired mantra that a vote for this party or that party helps the other side. The real question here is who is going to provide a voice of opposition in Parliament and in the country to a Starmer government. The Conservatives had their chance, they've blown it.
White men, elections, reform. All right, who's got the clip?
I just got this feeling, man, that this summer is, it's about to be a white boy summer.
Like you, 'cause you got that something that I need in my life, so give it to me, 'cause you got that.
Well,
if you value what I
do, man, it's about to go down, folks. You know what I mean? Hunter Biden found guilty on federal felonies and shit. Let's check that out.
A jury found the president's son guilty of 3 federal felonies related to buying a gun while addicted to drugs. Washington correspondent Maddie Biertemple reports on the conviction.
Hunter Biden walked out of a courtroom holding the First Lady's hand. A Delaware jury found him guilty of lying about his drug use when he bought a gun in 2018. Special counsel David Weiss spoke after the conviction.
No one in this country is above the law.
Prosecutors showed the jury text messages about drug dealers and played audio of Hunter's own memoir describing drug use.
This case was not just about addiction. This case was about the illegal choices defendant made while in the throes of addiction.
The defense argued Hunter didn't consider himself an addict at the time.
Of course.
The president said in a statement he accepts.
And then they talking about he ain't even subject to jail time. What?
I am also a dad. Jill and I love our son, and we're so proud of the man he is today.
Hunter Biden also released a statement saying he's
Biden?
grateful for his family's support during the trial, but, quote, disappointed by the outcome.
He faces up to 25 years in
All you
prison,
gonna do is
but it might
pardon
not
this
be
nigga.
that long. Syracuse University law professor Lauren Golden says sentencing guidelines for first-time offenders are shorter.
Potentially a year or 2 in prison. But the guidelines are just recommendations for judges, so judges can take into account other circumstances.
Republicans have largely supported the verdict.
We think that this is a long day in coming.
Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin says you won't see Democrats respond like Republicans did after former President Trump's conviction.
You don't hear a single peep out of any Democrat saying that why we believe in the rule of law.
Hunter Biden's lawyer says they'll pursue all legal challenges available. In Washington, I'm Maddie Biertemple.
She's Maddie Biertemple. Well, you know what I'm saying? So, they trying to, charge Trump with some bullshit. When, real money laundering is, fucking done by the real crooks like, Hillary's been, suiciding, or what's the other motherfucker? Bill's been raping, Obama's been sucking, Big Mike's been miking. It's a whole bunch of crazy shit going on. I can't recall the happenstance. But on Tuesday, Alex Jones spoke with Bradley Brankenfield, banker and whistleblower who exposes the Clinton and Obama money laundering and shit. Let's do it.
Well, what people have to understand is what I did as a whistleblower was bring down the largest bank in the world, expose their offshore banking. And I've testified in many, many other countries in Europe to help them with this regard. But now what has happened is I've garnished so much more information in Europe where I live now, and I garnished a lot of information. And one of the things I garnished was a gentleman in America by the name of Garrett Ziegler of Marco Polo. I helped finance his book. I was the one who then took him up to Capitol Hill on 11/11/22 to testify to the House committees privately. Why? What does that have to do with whistleblowing? Because the Biden family is corrupt. Not only corrupt from what you see in the Hunter Biden laptop, which I have a copy here, It's not my laptop. It's Hunter Biden's laptop.
Yep.
And what I saw today with this verdict is really a clown show. This is just a total farce. The way everything is happening now, people don't understand exactly where is this crime family going. Why is this family given an exception to the rules of justice? Hillary Clinton says no one's above the law. Prosecutor Weiss says no one's above the law. Okay. Well, wasn't it Senator Biden that came up with the crime bill?
Yep.
And the crime bill actually talked about a mandatory minimum for cocaine use.
Right.
Which Exhibit A is Hunter Biden. Why isn't he in jail and being charged for crack cocaine and crack and cocaine?
Yeah.
The other charges, which you can derive from the Hunter Biden laptop, his own laptop, which he abandoned, and there's actually 3 laptops. I think it's going to be very difficult in the short time frame that they have here. They might do something at the convention. They might say, geez, he really slipped and fell and he hurt his back and he's got to step out of the presidential election. The dog ate my homework, whatever. The very fact is he should not have been in there in the first place. He is not capable of running the country and the world. That's number one. Number 2, people hate Trump. Okay, that's their business. But you know something? Everybody hates a winner. And that's what Donald Trump is, a winner. He did everything he touched was good. The economy was good. Foreign relations was good. He was building the wall. He brought back people.
War. My number one thing, war just went away.
Yeah, it just vanished. Mm-hmm. And look at what happened in Afghanistan with this bumbling Biden. Leaves guns behind. He tells people you can't have guns in America, but you left hundreds of thousands of them for the terrorists in Afghanistan. That's wonderful. Yep. You left our troops there. Yep. You left people in many cities and countries around the world who are being affected by wars. I mean, no, Joe Biden is out of touch. He's totally out of touch.
Listen, out of touch is not even the proper term for it and shit. You know what I'm saying? This motherfucker is long gone. Long gone. Long gone is a country song.
Birkenfeld is the most significant financial whistleblower in modern history and the author of Lucifer's Banker, Uncensored, the Untold Story of How I Destroyed Swiss Bank Secrecy. And he's on record, the guy. I mean, I follow this not heavily, but I knew who he was when the sources said we should have him on. As an international private banker, he exposed how UBS and the world's largest bank helped ultra-wealthy Americans commit billions in tax fraud. His bombshell revelations cracked the impregnable fortress of Swiss banks, proving the offshore financial institutions systematically aided clients' tax evasion, corruption, and terrorist activities. His case triggered monumental changes in banking laws, the federal tax code, and international tax treaties. In 2005, despite a thriving career spanning Credit Suisse, Barclays Bank, and UBS, Birkenfeld could no longer keep silent about bank-enabled tax fraud. When UBS rejected his concerns, he turned to U.S. authorities. Though jailed for 30 months, he was soon vindicated with a record-breaking IRS reward, and his work has enabled the U.S. Treasury to recover $25 billion and growing in back taxes, fines, and penalties. The case set off a domino effect of international investigations into offshore banking secret crimes, including the Panama Papers and much more. Now retired, Birkenfeld is a philanthropist and supports whistleblowing efforts worldwide. LucifersBanker.com. Sir, very honored to have you. And I'm going to try, with the time we have, 50 minutes left in this hour, to just let you start wherever you'd like. And then obviously we want to tie it into current events because you know where the bodies are buried. But we salute your work. Thanks for joining us.
Well, Mr. Jones, thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure to be here. And I think the most important thing your audience must understand about what I did in my whistleblowing efforts was this was the largest and longest running tax scandal in the world affecting tax and securities laws in the United States.
Keep going.
And the problem was the Obama administration interfered on this. And the Obama administration, between Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, and Eric Holder, said there is a mission here to cover up this crime. So the problem that we had here was when I came forward with this information, unprecedented, what had happened was everyone was conflicted in the Obama administration. Obama was taking money from UBS chairman Robert Wolf. Eric Holder was representing UBS in private practice at Covington in Berlin. Tim Geithner couldn't pay his own taxes, Turbo Tim.
Damn.
And Hillary Clinton got involved in an international criminal investigation.
And I remember all this. I want the crew to pull up Obama UBS scandal, Clinton UBS scandal. I mean, people forget, but I've been on the air 30 years. This was a huge deal.
Exactly. And the issue came down to, there was a very interesting article by James Grimaldi of the Wall Street Journal on July 30th, 2015, which essentially showed the complicated ties of Clinton. The Clinton administration, or Clinton family, crime family, if you will, received all kinds of money from not just UBS. Bill Clinton got his highest paydays for lectures at UBS just months after the settlement that Hillary negotiated. And in essence, Alex, Hillary Clinton and the Obama administration cheated 300 million Americans. It's the biggest crime in history, in which direct payments were made to the Clintons to cover this story up and to not fine UBS, a foreign bank, and to protect all these rich Americans. This is the crime. And anyone who pays taxes should realize that Obama, Biden, Holder, and Hillary are all responsible, and Tim Geithner.
Yep.
And it has major ramifications today. But I remember you at the time, you blew up the whole thing. Get back to what made you do it, what you were seeing, what happened.
Well, there was a lot of people there. In Switzerland, it's not illegal to hide your money and not pay taxes. The problem is when you leave Switzerland to go and market outside the country. And that's where the problem was. So what we essentially did was do a marketing campaign with our onshore offices in New York, Miami, Chicago, LA, and so forth. So this was something that I said I really didn't feel comfortable expanding this marketing campaign. And I ultimately came to the realization, and I came to my boss and said, I'm not doing this anymore. This is wrong, and you know it's wrong. And they just told me to be quiet and keep my mouth shut and so forth. I'm getting paid a lot of money and all that. And I said, I don't really care. So ultimately, I went to my legal and compliance department over a 3-month period, and they never answered me. Now, as a director of the bank, I managed about $500 million. So why wouldn't you answer a director who is asking you direct questions on internal memos that were being distributed? And that was the problem. So I quit the job. And then I went to the board of directors of UBS in Zurich, and they covered it up with an investigation. So that's when I went to the Department of Justice in Washington, which was the biggest mistake. They're not only incompetent, but they're corrupt. The DOJ tax division in Washington is it's reckless. And you can look at the numbers. They allowed UBS to get away with this, where they violated our tax and securities laws for decades. They had over $20 billion just at UBS, but 120 banks were fined by the Department of Justice, but nobody goes to jail. The only one who went to jail was the whistleblower.
I've been telling the crew to pull up articles while you're talking. I'm listening to you. Do you hear me when I'm telling them stuff?
I only hear part of it.
Yeah. We did a test with Tucker Carlson today. He's on Friday. And Russell Brand's in the studio, and I think they changed something. So I'm listening to every word you say. I'm just like, pull up this, pull up that. And I think you're hearing that. I apologize. I'll keep going.
Not a problem. So the book, what I had to do was write a book after this incredible story, because the story actually made so much more sense for people to understand it. The problem was not one publisher would publish my book in America because it was coming before the Trump-Clinton presidential election. And this was a big, big problem. So I self-published the book and made sure that people saw this book before the election, because it was important for them to understand that.
This is amazing. So again, recap what happens is so historical. I remember following it all. It's amazing to have you on. And then with your great knowledge, looking at what's currently happening, Obama, Biden, Holder, Clinton, the Hunter laptop, how it all ties into this giant intelligence agency, permanent deep state that was clearly using Switzerland as their piggy bank. You helped blow that up. So what are they doing now?
Well, this is the problem. I mean, this is why they hated me, because not only the very rich elite, Kevin Costner, I came in and he had a $25 million account. He was never indicted or investigated because he's a big Democratic supporter. Leonard Lauder of Estee Lauder, once again, he had a large account at UBS in Geneva with my boss. He was never investigated. As well as Jack Manning, a billionaire from Boston Capital, who was the largest contributor to Bill Clinton's campaign. He was never investigated. So why would people come to the DOJ if they're going to cherry pick people to investigate when in fact you're giving them the information that is so critical to a criminal investigation? These people are all guilty. They're all Democratic donors, Kevin Costner, Leonard Lauder, and Jack Manning. And why? The only time in U.S. history a sitting president and vice president had a fundraiser at someone's private residence was Bill Clinton and Al Gore at Jack Manning's home in Boston, Massachusetts. The Secret Service refused to do it, and Bill Clinton overrode it because that was his friend, the number one contributor to Bill Clinton's campaign worldwide, and that's why they made all these little hush-hush deals together. And he had an account with us at UBS. I was his banker.
So I can ask 1,000 questions, but we should follow your lead here. Looking at because I was told by high level people that are never giving me wrong info, they said, this guy's the guy to talk to. Obviously, I know who you are, know your history, but I can ask 1,000 questions. How does this interact or interface with what's happening today in the world? What do you see happening just in general with everything?
Well, what people have to understand is what I did as a whistleblower was bring down the largest bank in the world, expose their offshore banking. And I've testified in many, many other countries in Europe to help them with this regard. But now what has happened is I've garnished so much more information in Europe where I live now, and I garnished a lot of information. And one of the things I garnished was a gentleman in America by the name of Garrett Ziegler of Marco Polo. I helped finance his book. I was the one who then took him up to Capitol Hill on 11/11/22 to testify to the House committees privately. Why? What does that have to do with whistleblowing? Because the Biden family is corrupt. Not only corrupt from what you see in the Hunter Biden laptop, which I have a copy here. It's not my laptop. It's Hunter Biden's laptop. And what I saw today with this verdict is really a clown show. This is just a total farce. The way everything is happening now, people don't understand exactly where is this crime family going? Why is this family given an exception to the rules of justice? Hillary Clinton says no one's above the law. Prosecutor Weiss says no one's above the law. Okay, well, wasn't it Senator Biden that came up with the crime bill? And the crime bill actually talked about a mandatory minimum for crack or cocaine use, which Exhibit A is Hunter Biden. Why isn't he in jail and being charged for crack cocaine and crack?
That's a very good question. We're going to come back on the other side and figure it out. You already know. It's your boy. Hey, Trump, are you the MAGA king?
China, all the networks.
Mega MAGA, Ultra MAGA, MAGA King. We gotta stop the MAGA King. I'm the MAGA King. Mega MAGA, Ultra MAGA, MAGA King. Get the FBI loaded up. I'm the MAGA King. I had a great relationship with President Cheese, now President for life. I call him King. He says, no, I am not King. I'm the MAGA King. You know what MAGA stands for? Make America Great Again. Unfortunately, we have so many bad things happening to our country. We can't celebrate until we start winning 22, which is a few days. We're going to win in 24. We're taking back that beautiful house. I'm the MAGA King. These guys come at you left and right on such bullshit. You've never seen anything like it. And essentially, they don't want to say this, but they said Trump was 100% right. The election was rigged and stolen, and we're not going to let it happen again. Mega MAGA, Ultra MAGA, MAGA King. We gotta stop the MAGA King. I'm the MAGA King. Mega MAGA, Ultra MAGA, MAGA King. Get the FBI loaded up. I'm the MAGA King. Did anybody here vote for Biden? If you did, you don't have the courage in this group to admit it. We're long gone from socialism. We're into communism. The only thing they do well is misinformation. It was Russia, Russia, Russia. Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine. And then the Mueller witch hunt where the conclusion was no collusion. Do you think Biden could say that? The conclusion was no collusion. You think Biden's going to get that? Come on, man. He violated a document. It's violated. Every other president takes their documents. I'm the only one. I can't have a document, but everyone else, they got them all over the place. They have them in Chinese restaurants and bowling alleys. You know that, right? But it's okay for them, but not for you. Mega MAGA, Ultra MAGA, MAGA King. We gotta stop the MAGA King. I'm the MAGA King. And I'm going to ask a man who's a great man, actually. Kenneth Copeland, come up and say a prayer.
Well, it's about time. By covenant, this nation belongs to God. Therefore, voting is a sacred trust. And if you don't vote, hush. I was in Jerusalem, where the American embassy is on Donald Trump Avenue. Oh, I like that. I've lived through a lot of presidents. This is the only one I have ever seen that wears red, white, and blue. That's the reason I copied his suit. I copied his suit. That's the reason I copied his suit. I copied his suit. Our first president opened his Bible at the 17th chapter of Genesis, and he bowed his knee, and he said,
I'm the MAGA King. MAGA, Ultra MAGA, MAGA King. We gotta stop the MAGA King. I'm the MAGA King. MAGA, Ultra MAGA, MAGA King. Get the FBI loaded up. I'm the MAGA King.
Yeah, we back. Yeah. You wouldn't believe how fast I just changed characters and shit. I was just out the game like a motherfucker. Bus hijacked, victims killed during hostage crisis in Atlanta. Did y'all hear about this shit? I don't think y'all did and shit. I don't think y'all heard about that. Suspect with lengthy rap sheet takes a gun from passenger, kills him, forces driver to harrowing pursuit, police pursuit, authorities say. Wow. The shocking string of events unfolded around 4:30 p.m. Tuesday afternoon when Gwinnett County, Georgia. Atlanta police were alerted about gunfire and a hostage situation aboard Gwinnett County transit bus. When officers arrived at the scene, the bus sped away and the pursuit ensued. The suspect reportedly had a gun and to the bus driver's head during the chase, and that spanned multiple counties and shit, unfortunately for him. With at least 17 passengers on board, the bus crashed into several vehicles and overcame attempts by law enforcement to end the pursuit, including deployment of spike strips and high-stakes pit maneuver. Footage of the chase was captured. Let's check it out. Y'all know I like shit like this. This is interesting. I like this. Oh, shit. Oh, this nigga driving on the wrong side of the street with the bus. Oh, he a beast. Oh, yeah, he a beast. Oh, he about to hit a car. I know he about to hit one. Because that's just what niggas in buses playing Grand Theft Auto do. They hit cars and shit. Get the fuck out the way. Get the fuck out the way. All right, now he back on the right side of the street. Still got the bus. Man, he handling that bus, though. Oh, man, this is crazy. Oh, yeah, it's bugged out. This shit ain't got no sound. Like, what's going on here?
Calling ahead and trying to get as many people out of the way. You see that officer there in the intersection really stopping traffic, trying to make way for this bus as best as they can, trying to get all those drivers out of the way. He is going the wrong way in that turn line. That's another car connecting. And you're talking about a heavy piece of equipment you talked about before, Alan. And you can see the damage on the front end of that bus, even on the backside there, all the things it's running into, the curbs, the vehicles, everything else. Again, we don't know the situation on this bus. Some time ago, there was some kind of altercation. The driver calling ahead and trying
to the next
first found out about this situation. As soon as we got our chopper there, we put it on the video. Brendan Keefe was talking about an attempted blockade from a GSP officer. The bus never even slowed down. That's too much power, too much motor, too much weight. The GSP officer getting forced down the highway. I'm sure that officer's likely
he's stopping on the brakes.
Oh, my goodness. Extremely dangerous.
Yeah,
Brendan said this was basically a reverse pit maneuver. The bus then continued down the highway. It hit several cars, I believe. Boom. Yeah, there's one of them right there. This gray four-door sedan moved right out of the way. It rolls into yet another vehicle, and the bus just keeps on going. Flies right off the highway. That was the officer vehicle right there, Tracy. no regard for human life. No regard for human life as this bus then picks up speed, gets off I-85, and then starts barreling down Jimmy Carter Boulevard. I believe you got video of the spikes here. The spikes once again in an attempt to stop this bus. There it is. Yep. The back tires. It looks like it did connect. The bus just didn't slow down. Are these spikes make sure?
Wow. Let's go to
the chopper now flying back the other direction here. A massive SWAT presence in front of and behind this bus. This is a look here.
Oh, they ran into this joint with a Humvee.
Guns drawn as they approach the front end of this bus. They're getting on the bus. SWAT is boarding the bus. Riot shields deployed, guns drawn, and we're not exactly sure what comes next here, Tracy.
Right, a sharpshooter on top of that SWAT vehicle there. They are trying to make sure this is covered from every angle. As far as we know right now, that bus driver may possibly still be being held hostage. And of course, what's paramount is that driver's safety at this point. And that's what those officers are trying to make sure they can get that driver off that bus safely without anyone being hurt here, without any further harm being done. It's a little bit hard to tell what officers are doing now, but the good news here is at least a lot of the people on the roadways are safe, because that was very tenuous.
The chopper now flying.
In a better perspective, we can see it looks unclear if someone stepped on the bus or stepped off. We can see the driver in the vest. You see some movement there. Driver. Okay, there he is. That suspect, suspect, yes. It looks like a law enforcement was able to get on the bus, and someone on the ground. Oh, no, I take it back.
Those hostages coming off the bus.
On the bus. Those passengers on the bus, getting off the bus, getting out to some safety.
Yes, with their hands behind their head. That's what's happening right now. The passengers getting off the bus there. We saw the driver in the vest who was behind the steering wheel, and there was another person up there in the front with that driver, and then immediately after, people started getting off of that bus.
As they should. I mean, shit, nigga, you gonna wait on the bus for some more shit to happen? I think not. I think motherfucking not. This the full video. Let's check it out. Oh, 20 minutes? This is a 20-minute video all the way down the highway? All right, we ain't gonna watch a whole 20 minutes all the way down the motherfucking highway, though. You know what I'm saying? Kayleigh McEnany, you know what I'm saying? When I first seen the report, I was like, illegal aliens and shit. And they was like, oh, no, it's just an American with a fucked up rap sheet. I'm like, illegal aliens. You know what I'm saying? Fuck out of here. Y'all just blaming it on a nigga in the joint. Fuck out of it. Kayleigh McEnany issues a warning. We need to take this seriously. It might be border crisis shit. Let's check it out.
Nationals from Tajikistan with suspected ties to ISIS terrorists are now in federal custody. And we thank the FBI and local authorities in the cities where they were picked up, because they crossed over our southern border at some point. And they arrested these potential killers during a coordinated sting operation in New York, Philadelphia, and Los Angeles. Sanctuary cities, of course. So how did these dangerous individuals end up in our country if there's really any vetting going on at the southern border? They crossed illegally into America. And now we ask, how do people like those men make it through in a scenario now that has blown up since President Biden's executive action last week? According to the Department of Homeland Security, the 8 men each received a, quote, full vetting. And I put that in quotes because we don't really know what that means. During which no concerning information was flagged. Fox is told the ties to terrorism and security concerns only came to light after all 8 were released into the United States. I would shout that. The prompter has exclamation points. But do I have to shout it? Is it a shock? In a joint statement to Fox News, the FBI and DHS said, quote, as the FBI and DHS have recently described in public and partner bulletins, the U.S. has been in a heightened threat environment. The FBI and DHS will continue working around the clock with our partners to identify, investigate, and disrupt potential threats to national security. All of that a quote. Well, over the past 14 months, jihadists from Tajikistan have been involved in an unusually high number of terrorist attacks, including the one in Moscow at the concert hall in March, where 145 people died and hundreds of others were wounded. So when DHS tells us that they were fully vetted, these 8 who just got arrested, again, we don't know what that means. How many dangerous nationals are living in the United States right now that we fully vetted? We need answers.
So this was the number 3 years ago of gotaways from the border. 387,398. And if there are those in that group, I mean, they're in our communities now.
Wow.
2023, 670,674. The year before, 606,131. But the truth is, we don't know who's here. And you mentioned that attack this past spring in Moscow. That was low-tech terror.
Mm. Oh, that's interesting.
All they did was case the joint. They waited for the concert to begin, and they were using semi-automatic weapons. And so if you're plotting and you're planning, you're thinking, and I've thought this for several years now, if you're a member of ISIS and you're in eastern Syria or western Iraq and Trump runs you out of that place, and then you get a change of administration here and you know that the border's wide open. I mean, why would you not go ahead and test the system? I think there's a reason why you've got all these members of the administration flashing red lights right now. Mike Morrell, you can read his piece today. Merrick Garland, Christopher Wray, when he was on Capitol Hill 8 days ago, they're all saying the same thing. They're seeing warning signs out there they haven't seen in some time.
Let's listen to FBI Director Christopher Wray with this warning during a congressional testimony just last week.
We've seen the threat from foreign terrorists rise to a whole nother level. This is by no means a time to let up or dial back. Now, on top of that, increasingly concerning is the potential for a coordinated attack here in the homeland. Not unlike the ISIS-K attack we saw at the Russia concert hall back in March.
So as Bill was just talking about, and basically I'll boil it down to this, how do we not know?
How do we not know? I mean, you list off administration officials who are warning, the head of CENTCOM, too. I mean, we're hearing this repeatedly. And, 9/11 is far in the back of our mind. No longer do I think about these attacks when I go to big events until recently. I was going to a concert and multiple times it crossed my mind, oh, my goodness, what happened in Moscow? And for the CIA director, FBI director, rather, to bring up that specific example and warn of threats, it's terrifying. It's in the back of everyone's mind. But Foreign Affairs, they wrote an article before these Tajikistan individuals were caught, these foreign nationals. The terrorism warning lights are blinking red again. And they analogize this to 9/11. They analogize it to George Tenet, who used to head up the CIA. George Tenet, in his confirmation hearings in 1997, warned specifically about al-Qaeda. Think about that. 1997, long before 2001, he warned about al-Qaeda 10 times over the years before 9/11 happened. So we need to take this seriously. We need to be on high alert. We need to secure the border.
You and I were on the same page because I read that Foreign Affairs article too, or their essay as it was. And in there it says the U.S. Central Command, General Kurilla, has pointed to the terrorist capabilities of groups like al-Qaeda, ISIS, in its Afghanistan affiliate, ISIS-K. He says, despite the threats, though, the southern border remains virtually defenseless. When I got to that line, I scratched my head. Mm-hmm. What was Biden even trying to do last week? Because he didn't touch this. He's not protecting us.
And to Kayleigh's point, you think about these big events you go to. These guys were talking about the Boston Marathon. They are planning something like that. That's why we're getting these warnings from Christopher Wray. But if you read deeply into that, what that article is saying about this is that Joe Biden doesn't have the ability to return these people. He doesn't have the relationships with these countries to send them back. They won't accept them back. So when we've talked to Border Patrol, they've said, we've got some really bad guys coming in, these guys connected to ISIS. There's no way to return them. What do we do with them?
I don't know. Guantanamo Bay? I mean, what are our options at this point? They can't stay among us.
Just
and if we know they're here, where do we put them? Former acting ICE director under Trump and Fox News contributor Tom Homan joined me last hour on The Focus. Here's what he told me.
In 2021, a little over 4,000 Russians were encountered on the southern border. 2023, 33,000. Since October, over 30,000 Chinese nationals. They have released people from Russia, from North Korea, from Syria, Turkey, Iran, and this happens by the thousands every month. And they keep releasing them. And as far as the vetting, they'll keep saying, well, we vet them before we release them. Look, the vetting is poor because we can only vet with the information that is available to us. But you think Russia, Syria, Turkey, Iran is sharing any
information?
National security information with
No.
people from their countries?
No,
they're not. It won't be the last. Unless they take actions to secure the border, something is coming.
Emily.
Right. So President Biden's continued fear of escalation and weak, defenseless approach to global relationships has resulted in not only the erosion of relationships with our allies, but also the elevation of our weakness as perceived by our enemies. So, number one, we don't have that intel, which is why when the government, perpetuated by the mainstream media, these people were fully vetted. I really appreciated the director's point, which is that fully vetted on a slim iota piece of information, not the whole picture. When anything happens in our lives, take your own home, your own car. You mitigate the risk. Oh man, the brakes are sounding an alarm. I'm going to take it in. I'm going to make sure the brakes are sound. Why in this administration, against the growing calls, the red flags that have been sounded by the FBI director, the attorney general just last week, an enormous surge in threats, the CENTCOM director, global, the capabilities that they have, the outgoing National Counterterrorism Center director who said there's an elevated global threat environment, ISIS-K explosion in Moscow. The list goes on. Why would the president ignore that? Just like he ignored all of the advice before the pullout of Afghanistan, we can mitigate the risk right now by closing the southern border and the northern one, since everyone's coming over that too. Because we clearly can't mitigate the risk right now because this president has eroded all of those relationships and our capabilities. But we need to mitigate the risk, and he's ignoring them.
A quick follow-up for you, Emily.
He's not ignoring them. He's the
doesn't
reason.
Even know all those things that why he doesn't take action. I don't know. I don't know if they're telling him everything. I don't have the confidence anymore. Our lives are at stake now as a country. I don't know.
Even if his closest advisors have somehow tried to shield or protect his mentality from this and try to whitewash, we know they have with the southern border and things.
Right.
The fact that these public statements by these officials that we've cited today, those are clear. Those warnings are clear.
And they're public.
Anyone would have to just open your eyes and listen to know that the threat is real and the risk is high.
Think about how
Open your ears.
How this started too, Harris. This started with Mexican.
Open your mind.
Nicaraguans, Hondurans, right?
Open your heart.
Border crossers that we've seen historically.
And the president would never push back on that because that would upset the progressive left. It would truly offend them. And it's gotten to this point where we can list off all these countries and Bill Malusian's down there with a group of people from Mauritania. Day after day.
Mauritania? Where the fuck is that
what you're saying, too, and Haitians are among those, too. So certain, and I'll just say it, people of color, he's losing the black vote. So he's not going to push against black and Hispanics in a political year. But vetting should be irrespective of what you look like. Where you come from matters if you're on a list of countries that have
bad intentions,
activities going on.
Mm-hmm. Hey everyone, I'm Emily.
I mean, that's absolutely true, but don't nobody want to talk about the obvious and shit. Well, wait a minute. You know, these people are black. You gotta let them in, nigga. They from Somalia. They pirates and shit, but they're black. You gotta let them in. I mean, it's crazy. Seattle to allow illegals to join the police department. Yep. DACA recipients will be able to join the city's Beleaguery Police Department. They will be allowed to use firearms despite despite being in the county illegally. They'll be able to use firearms. So I ain't gonna hold you, man. I probably fuck around, get me an AR and just be walking around with that bitch. If illegal aliens is here and they fucking don't belong here and these niggas got gats, I don't see why. You mean, like this is about to go down. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping it a bean and shit. It's about to go down and shit. The Seattle Police Department will turn illegals into in an attempt to address its manpower woes, according to Law enforcement today, the city will take advantage of Senate Bill 6157 signed into law by Democrat Governor Jay Inslee to allow it to recruit illegals with DACA or Dreamer status. Since Dreamers are in the county illegally, they are not allowed to carry firearms, but the Biden ATF ruled that DACA recipients could carry weapons and possess ammunition as part of law enforcement roles. Nigga, are we fucking for real right now? I'm asking for a friend and shit. Is we fucking for real right now? Like, what? In Los Angeles, Police Chief Michael Moore changed department policies so DACA recipients who are members of the police department could carry their weapons off duty by reclassifying off-duty hours as part of performance of their official duties. What? Now, Seattle firefighters and Seattle police officers that were fired for not complying with the vaccine mandates are out feeding the homeless. So, I told y'all, these niggas is the replacement population. What y'all say? They not the replacement population. They not replacing us. They're replacing y'all. They're replacing y'all. They're replacing y'all. You are being replaced. Staffing in the police department at its levels not seen in 70 years as of December 31st, 2023. There were only 424 police officers working in the department, with 66 eligible for retirement and 84 over the age of 50 and shit. Y'all remember what happened in Seattle, Washington? Chads. Y'all remember that shit? Where they made a whole area specifically for black folks and shit. Remember Chaz, when they made it and only black people died in this specific area? It was specifically for black people, but only black people died in that job. Senior members of the police department guild told law enforcement today that the low staffing levels was due to the left-wing city's administration anti-police mindset, which happened during the 2020 in Chaz. The city passed an accountability ordinance targeting police, and during the George Floyd riots 2020, leftist activists were given subpoena power at the same time as arbitration rights were removed from police officers. A number of police officers were also fired for refusing to comply with the department's vaccine mandate during the pandemic. Is that ironic? And come on, man. Come on now. I'm just asking, is it ironic now? You know now? I just need to know now. Okay now? Oh, my God. Only if y'all knew what y'all was stepping into. Breaking, Tucker Carlson breaks the internet with powerful interview with Alex Jones. You know they trying to shut him down, right? Yeah. But I'm going to let that song play in the background so I ain't got to turn it down and shit. And then we're going to wait for him to bust in talking, because this joint, we only got like 8 minutes to.
Waging war on corruption. It's Alex Jones.
It's Mr.
Coming to you live from the front lines of the info war.
Well, I've interviewed a lot of amazing people. I've interviewed President Trump, you name it, and I never get butterflies. But for this interview, I do. I absolutely love Tucker Carlson. He's changed the world. He is the top political commentator in the world, hands down, and in his incredibly busy schedule.
And you got to remember, Tucker Carlson was talking shit about Alex Jones at one point, and then he woke the fuck up. So that means anybody can wake the fuck up.
he has decided to give us about an hour and a half interview here today. And this is in the twilight of InfoWars. We could be imminently shut down. So I can't see us going out better than with Tucker Carlson also coming up today. It's how the planets aligned. Russell Brand is going to be on with us as well. So this is going to be an incredible broadcast here today. It'll all be posted, obviously, at Real Alex Jones on X. But Tucker Carlson does not need any introduction. And I want to just talk to him first about the future of humanity, the future of America, World War III, the fact that the dinosaur media is officially dead and is trying to claw the rest of us with them, and how we turn not just American civilization, but the entire world civilization around from this globalist death cult that is in control of our lives today. So, Tucker, thank you so much for the time, my friend. Of course, you've announced a big nationwide tour that I'm very proud to be a small part of. Just so much going on. Your network is exploding. I know you don't ever talk about Fox getting rid of you, but, man, it's got to feel vindication and good that I would say you reach about 10 times more people now than when you were on Fox. So it's great to have you.
Well, thank you. It actually felt good the first day. I enjoy being fired, actually, because it forces you to stop doing what you're doing and take an assessment. I'm honored to be here. I'm here, obviously, because we're friends, but I'm really here on principle, because there's nothing you've ever said in your entire life or done in your entire life that's scarier or more threatening to our country than what they're doing to you right now. The government taking a broadcaster off the air who's committed no crime because he dares to criticize them, is the scariest possible thing, and it's the clearest possible sign of tyranny. And I am heartbroken that this isn't getting more attention. I think it's a pivot point in our country, and if they can do this to you, they will do it to the rest of us. And what's so striking, though, is that if you had spent the last 20 years attacking, I don't know, the white working class, right? Or
he'll be a far leftist.
America.
He'll be a leftist. They wouldn't matter.
Thomas Jefferson. You'd be lauded, but you did the one thing you're not allowed to do, which is you attack the people in charge. And that's why they're trying to take you off the air. And I think we should be really clear about that. You've never done anything but attack the people in charge. That's your crime. By the way, if you had started a war that killed 1 million people, or tanked the U.S. economy, or sort of looted
to give that nigga a round of applause
to the Federal Reserve, you would be getting a Presidential Medal of Freedom. Mm-hmm. But you criticized the ruling oligarchy, and they're trying to crush you. So I hope every person of principle, every decent person in this country, whether they agree with what you say or not, whether they like you personally or not, it doesn't matter. Will say out loud, no, you can't do this in my country, the country that my ancestors built, that I was born in. You can't take people off the air because they criticize you, because that's tyranny.
Well, I want to just thank you, because when I first got deplatformed 5 years ago, almost no one who was prominent came to my aid and said, hey, they're going to get everybody if we allow this to happen. And they obviously misrepresented what I supposedly did. It was all a big PR campaign. They've now admitted to that. They admitted in Reuters last week that the goal was to take me off air. They never wanted to settle with me. It was basically a Democratic Party witch hunt. But shifting gears out of me, I mean, I totally agree with you. This isn't about Alex Jones or Tucker Carlson or Donald Trump or Steve Bannon. It's about they have to get through us to get to the public, as Trump always says. And it really is a canary in the coal mine. They're so hysterical and so desperate and know that they've lost control of the narrative that they're just willing to do anything. The lawfare, all the fake charges, all the criminality. But I want to speak to all of that. But you never really talk about yourself. And people find that fascinating. People want to know about you. So let's go back to what you first said. You loved being fired. I mean, when I said 10 times bigger than you were huge, but you're definitely 10 times conservatively bigger, reaching 500, sometimes 700 million people with your shows. Normal shows, 50 million. I mean, that is massive. Instinctively, when you got unceremoniously fired at Fox, they wouldn't even tell you why. Very Kafkaesque. Why was that so exciting to you? And now what is it like to be fully the captain of your ship?
Well, I mean, of course, it's painful. It's always painful to, have anything unexpected happen in your life because you think, you can see the future. But it's really a blessing to be reminded that you can't, and that things changed abruptly, that you don't have control really over most of your life. And you certainly don't have control over history. So you're just sort of flotsam, bobbing along, trying to make the right decisions moment to moment. The reason that I liked being fired, within like 20 minutes, I was in a good mood because I recognized the pattern. It's always the bad things that turn out to be the greatest things in your life.
Yep.
You know, it's getting really sick and surviving. It's, you know, it's something you didn't expect at all that hurts, that forces you to take an assessment of what you're doing and change.
Yeah.
And you won't change unless that happens. I mean, there's really nothing worse for people, particularly for men, than just succeeding, because it ratifies all of your decisions. It makes you, you know, after a while, you just like confuse yourself for Jesus. You just think, well, I'm successful because I'm just so great. You know, I earned this. I'm an amazing person, unlike everybody else. And I think it's absolutely vital for your soul, but also for your clear judgment to remember, no, I'm this sort of ungainly, ridiculous primate who lucked into some things, made some good decisions, a lot of bad decisions. Like, see yourself in context, see yourself as you really are. You know, you're absurd. We're all absurd. And so getting fired just reminds you, like, oh, I'm so important. You know, I get all these people texting me like, I can't believe they fired you. They needed you. Well, it turned out they didn't actually. And it's good to be reminded of that like, you think you're such a big deal. Will anyone remember your name in 50 years, in 10 years? Will anyone visit your grave? I know the answer. No. So I'm not saying that to sort of pose as a self-deprecating person. I'm saying that because it's factually true, and it's good to operate on the basis of what's true rather than on what you wish were true.
Right.
Well, I mean, as I've grown up, I'm 50 now. I was never ego-driven completely, but I was more ego-driven as I was younger. It's such a strength and way more satisfying to have the ego basically drop away to almost nothing and to really have it be a sense of community. And that's your power that comes off so genuine, and it's even stronger in person, folks, is that you really are a genuine person who's humble. And so we're not lauding ourselves.
I mean, that's great, but you also got to take satisfaction on your achievements as well and shit, right? So I don't think there's anything wrong with taking satisfaction in your achievements and shit. You know what I'm saying?
It's just a great attribute. If you look at the globalists in D.C., which you know well, they are the complete opposite. They are on delusional, crazy power trips. And to me, there's nothing more dangerous than that with people that are megalomaniacs and think they're invincible who also have nuclear weapons.
Yeah, now that's super crazy. If y'all want to watch more and shit, y'all can slide over to InfoWars. What's the title on this? Seattle allows illegals to join the police department. UK grocery chain to sell edible insects as affordable protein amid cost of living crisis. Discount supermarket chain Aldi is considering selling edible insect recipe kits to help consumers meet the daily protein needs of their family amid soaring food prices, as bugs such as crickets are known to be cheap and sustainable form of protein. The budget grocery store is thinking of stocking products with Young Bug, which manufactures insect recipe kits. Now, understand that Aldi is already selling you bug protein and shit. A lot of they shit, they chips, all that shit got bug protein in it already. So, whether you know it or not, I mean, look, it remains to be seen. But I will say, you know what I'm saying, insect protein is not to be, you know what I'm saying, don't fuck with that insect protein shit. It's bad for you, bro. Aaron Thompson and Leo Taylor, the founders of the company who have just established their bug restaurant, were incidentally picked from 100 of applicants to appear on a Channel 4 Aldi's Next Big Thing in 2022. And it ended up being the bug protein. They're incredible superfood. We want to take bug consumption mainstream. Wow. Bug consumption mainstream. If we're able to get in front of Aldi's audience, that would be an amazing opportunity, he further explained. Meanwhile, Taylor said, how long have you been eating bugs? Aaron and I have been cooking insects for years. It started in 2017 with weekend experiments out my parents' garage, cooking up all sorts of recipes, posting content online, he recounted. And when we then sold our first insect recipe box out of our bedrooms in lockdown, and that's where everything snowballed. Okay. Look, folks, I'm gonna tell y'all, if you look on the package and it say sustainable, don't eat the shit. Okay. I stopped shopping at Aldi, I think I want to say almost 10 years ago now. When I found out they were selling fake meat, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm good. Doctor warns of mRNA, big future in new shots. So this would give 2 mRNA vaccines to the same person in the same syringe at the same injection site. Now, this is not me making this up, honestly. We're going to check it out. Let's do it.
Welcome to today's talk, Tuesday, the 11th of June. Now, the mRNA vaccines are expanding around the world. There's multiple plants that have been built to produce them. So let's have a look at where we are at globally. All of the issues that have been raised, the concerns, the adverse reaction.
Sorry about that, folks. People are ignorant and they will call your phone in the middle of you podcasting.
Don't really seem to have been taken into full cognizance. And they're ploughing ahead. Let me give some examples here. Let's start off with this one. This is from Moderna itself. Now, this is the website it's from. I've put the references in, of course, as always, from Moderna. Moderna receives US FDA approval for RSV vaccine.
RSV.
Now,
when y'all start getting RSV?
It's 31st of May 2024. Moderna today announced that the US Food and Drug Administration, FDA, has approved it. So it's called that. That's the name of the vaccine they're using there, or the genetic sequence that they're giving. And as we see, it's an mRNA vaccine, messenger ribonucleic acid vaccine. Now approved as a second vaccine. Now. When you give an intramuscular injection into the deltoid, the very small lipid nanoparticles, some of them are going to stay there, but others are going to go back into the systemic circulation. They'll drain in the veins, eventually draining into the vena cava, which will go back into the right side of the heart. That will pump the blood to the lungs. Blood will come back from the lungs in the pulmonary veins to the left side of the heart, in the aorta. The left ventricle will pump the blood into the aorta, and the aorta will take it everywhere, apart from the lung tissue. So it'll take it to your ears. It'll take it to your nose. It'll take the blood to your toes. It'll take it to your myocardium. It'll take it to your brain. It'll take it to your testes or ovaries. This is the concern, the systemic distribution. But it's now been approved by the FDA for respiratory syncytial virus, common virus, to protect adults aged 60 years and older from lower respiratory tract disease caused by respiratory syncytial virus infection. Some people might think that the risk of the vaccine is greater than that caused by RSV in older people.
It is.
This is what the press release says. The approval was granted under a breakthrough therapy designation. So a breakthrough therapy designation.
And remember, they're labeling
second
it
approved
as
mRNA
a vaccine, but it's a therapy.
Of course, after the
a gene therapy,
the COVID vaccines. Chief Executive of Moderna, the FDA approval of our second product builds on the strength and versatility of our mRNA platform. And this is indeed true. The mRNA platform is remarkably versatile. You can string together any sequence you want to make pretty well anything you want and inject it into the human body. But another main concern I have is, as well as the systemic distribution, is this is going to go to all of the cells potentially in the body. So let's imagine that this, for example, is a cell lining the vascular endothelium of the myocardium, the blood that's going through the myocardium, these squamous cells. And then along comes the lipid nanoparticle. Here, that sends in the RNA into the cell. The cell's genetic apparatus will then produce the antigen. Now, when you give a mRNA vaccine, you could produce a little bit of antigen, or you could produce one heck of a lot of antigen. As far as I know, the dose of RNA that you give is not that closely well, it doesn't determine the amount of antigen you produce. So you could produce a little bit or you could produce a lot. And to me, this goes against one of the completely fundamental axioms of giving drugs. You give the right dose of the right drug to the right patient at the right time via the right route. How do you know the dose? Because you don't know how much antigen the body is going to produce.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, going back to the diagram.
They clinically tested it.
The cells here will then produce the antigen, whatever it is. Now, if that's in your arm and you get some white blood cells coming along, say some cytotoxic T cells coming along, and these cytotoxic T cells, if they will recognize this antigen as foreign, and they'll start beating it up and probably could eventually kill the whole cell, actually. Now, if that's in your arm, you get a sore arm. If it's in your myocardium, you'll get inflammation in your myocardium. So the spike protein was particularly pathogenic. Very strange that the spike protein was chosen. Very, very strange in my view. But any antigen
that
goes onto the surface of the cells will be recognized by the immune system. The inflammatory reaction will be there. The immune system will attack these cells, thinking that these cells are virally infected and kill these cells. And this concern, as far as I know, hasn't been addressed, and yet the program plows on apace. So that is that's my concern there: the systemic distribution and the production of unknown amounts or indeterminate amounts of antigen, and the reaction of the immune cell to the antigen expressed by the body cells. Of course, this might not be a cell. These cells might not be in the myocardium.
Mm.
It might be in the testes.
Mm-hmm.
Or the ovaries.
Yeah. So
you see why I'm concerned. Anyway, let's go on. That was that announcement. A little bit more on that. Moderna expects to have this RSV vaccine available
by the end of 24
for eligible populations in the United States by 2024-2025 respiratory virus season, which of course is next winter. Moderna has filed mRNA approval with regulators in multiple markets around the world. So I don't know, but I mean, we can assume that this includes the United Kingdom. I think we can assume it includes Australia, Canada, New Zealand. In fact, I assume it includes anyone who can pay.
Yeah.
I will not be getting one
at all.
Let's move on to another area here. This is from Clinical Trials Arena. Now, here's the announcement on this one. Check it out. This is not me making it up. All the information is there for your perusal. Now, Moderna races ahead in flu and COVID-19 combo vaccine. Race with phase 3 win. Win? Okay.
Combo vaccine.
Now, this is called Moderna injection mRNA, again, messenger ribonucleic acid. So as well as the RSV, we're now getting this influenza one, changing to mRNA. Now, of course, we do have existing influenza vaccines, but they want to replace it with these new genetic sequence vaccines. This seems to be the way progress is being facilitated.
Yeah, man. And I would let the rest of this joint play, but we only got a little bit of time. Bird flu, avian flu added to flu vaccine. Avian influenza added to flu vaccine in 2009 and shit, you know what I'm saying? A whole bunch of bullshit going on. And they selling us out, folks. They selling us out real hard, and we at a point where it's like, bro, well, man, it is what it is. It is what it is. We getting sold out super fucking hard. And not only are they selling us out hard, but they selling us down the river and shit. That's the crazy part. Hollywood NWO whores go to jail. Well, my bad, go to hell. They gotta go to jail first, though. You already know. John Bell.
Global Citizen and the World Health Organization have received an incredible outpouring of support.
You were. That's Michonne and shit from The Walking Dead. I'm so disappointed in Michonne.
Health Organization.
The United Nations urges us to think global and act locally to prevent future outbreaks. Here to tell us more is Secretary General of the UN, Antonio Guterres.
Thank you for your support for the life-saving work of the World Health Organization and the other humanitarian agencies.
Yes, liberal snowflakes. Orange Man Bad isn't going to send the largest donation per year to the World Health Organization. That can now be the dishonor of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
There's a lot of vaccine candidates that we're backing, and I'm optimistic by late next year, one of those will come out. And we need to make sure that gets out to everyone in the world.
Hollywood has revealed themselves as they truly are. Arrogant, misinformed, spoiled assholes who would rather support a foreign power that is responsible for sending the United States over a cliff than support the efforts of their own republic.
Archetypes of the devil and God are real. And then once you understand the archetypes are real, where the archetypes come from, well, that's because there's something behind the archetype. And that the devil is real.
The Satanic Temple of Iowa putting up this scene in the Iowa state capitol. Built with the state's permission, it includes a statue of a goat-headed figure, along with the 7 tenets of the group's beliefs.
Oh.
So what should we understand about the Satanic Temple group?
It's far greater evil, I think, to allow the government to begin, as I said, picking and choosing, elevating one religious voice over another, because that's a downward spiral.
No amount of money or no amount of power will protect
missing
you
an eye
if you do not have Christ.
This capital is a testimony to the Christian worldview that has a basis for truth, beauty, and goodness. And so I want to say that the people who built this monument and testimony to the glory of God and the Christian worldview were not pretending neutrality when they did it. So why are we?
And for whatever reason, the evil flees when confronted with the name of Jesus Christ, if you believe in it. I've told you I know multiple prominent people that have had poltergeist experiences where they are literally thrown up against a wall by a black shadow and their flesh ripped open. And I told you that that's why these people are finding Jesus.
And unfortunately, a lot of very intelligent people, they dismiss all of the positive aspects of religion because they think that the stories are mere superstitious fairy tales, that, you know, they have no place in this modern world, and, you know, we're inherently good and your ethics are based on your old moral compass and we all have one, and that's not necessarily true. We need Jesus. I think for real. Like if he came back now, like if Jesus coming back right now, now's a good time.
Now, what is that? You think you can be big and powerful and reach hundreds of millions of people and be doing things that are anti-Satan and going against the agenda of Satan, and then you don't have Jesus to protect you?
Yeah.
You're going to be attacked. The devil's going to operate through all the possessed people he's got. It's a program. If you're exposing these satanic interdimensional forces that are the special operations of this interdimensional alien invasion, that's how they come through. Just think of them as aliens, and then you can sell all these people, because that's what they are from their perspective. But they're demons. They're interdimensional creatures. People are going to laugh at that till one attacks them. See, and I know the Bible that as you approach Revelations, the gates of hell are going to be open, the interdimensional gate, and only a small number of Satan's operatives were here before. The gates will be thrown open, and we're going to have these things literally running around the streets. Now, you ask, why would these creatures attack people that were doing God's work but didn't have God's protection? You'd think that would make them wake up and accept Jesus. They can't help it. If you're not protected, they want to destroy you. It's like a zombie wants brains. It's got to go after you. It's its mission. You're like, well, that's fantastical. Have you looked at the stars at night? Have you looked at the sun? Have you looked at the birds? Have you looked at the wind? Have you not felt the energy, the good and the bad? We're on a fantastical planet in a unbelievably amazing universe. Because we're designed to learn how to conquer all this matter and ourselves, to have all that power and to control it. But if you decide to not go along with God's program, you're going to go with the devil's program, and you're going to be fully taken over by it. So you've got doorways into your soul, and the only way you protect it is Jesus Christ and that defense shield. And it's something you already do. So you're not being taught this how it's done. You're simply having your amnesia removed so that you can remember how truly ancient you are. We're the weapon system. We're the big dogs. These demons
the
are
fifth
nothing.
element.
And so once you understand that the archetype of Christ is real, and if we are this incredibly powerful spiritual being, even if you're an atheist and don't believe in Christ, but you've seen the power of human potential, when we all believe on Christ, you now believe in Christ as love, as energy, as good, as coming together, as defeating evil. It now creates Christ. Now that's the New Age copy, but it's one level of truth. Christ is real, a real person sent here by God, because God would only put himself through something before he would ask us to do it. I told you months ago, Joe Rogan would soon call on Jesus, and it's happened. And that's God, and that's the power God's given us.
I mean, folks, he's not only right, but he's ultra fucking right. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they're trying to fucking get him out of here, bro. You know what I'm saying? And y'all know what it is. Y'all know what the fuck it is and shit. Censored platinum artist MIA joins the Alex Jones show live on air for epic interview. We're going to do about 10 minutes and then we're going to get about it.
Have you talked to Alex Jones?
Not yet.
You gotta, I feel like
He owes me a career.
Yeah.
He owes me my music career back. Because he is the guy that my last record was cancelled over.
Why? What happened?
The day I said that tweet happens to be the day that my record was going to be released to the world.
What was the tweet?
It was about
why would you say that
lies on the internet, you
Why
know.
would
And
you say
I
that
said,
tweet?
people can't be fined $1 billion for lying because so many people lie.
Yeah.
Like I can think of like 25 people that needs to be fined $1 billion right now.
Every president we've had.
That has been
Not only that,
detrimental
but
to
way
humanity.
more.
You know.
Right.
When I was about to release my last record, it was called Martyr, and it kind of the release date coincided.
There's somebody that dies for the cause and get glorified.
The your verdict when you're fined for $1 billion, and as I was about to post about my album, I saw the headline about you, and then since then I've been kind of thrown into this full circle, you know.
She was redirected.
Candace Owen invited me on her show because of that tweet, and then obviously I went on Tim Pool, and then now I've kind of connected back to the source of my problem.
It's a good problem to be standing with humanity, in my view.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I think that was historical if somebody was getting fined for lying. Like, even though, sorry to hear that it happened to you, the fact that we can have society fine people for lying is how it's
when
phrased.
It's a universal language.
And that, to me, was like a historical event in the history of the United States, you know, and maybe the world. And if we're going to go into the realm of suing people and fining them for lying, like, obviously we're going to have a field day. But it didn't really go like that. You know, it's very hypocritical because I saw it as a positive news, even though, you know, my record was martyred, and I guess so are you on this, on all the platforms, you know, since then. So, yeah, to me, it just felt like it was opening up a really good, exciting future for people in terms of, like, you know, being able to hold people accountable, because being Tamil and coming from Sri Lanka, there was a lot of false accusations and lies that were spread by the media in the end times during the Tamil genocide. And, you know, we've tried to go to the UN and do this in a very proper manner and we haven't had any results. So if this is another point that you can add to a case where you can say, look, all these information were falsified, and during the last days of the war, the UN coordinates were used to drop bombs on civilians, and they were bombing the no-fire zone.
Sound familiar?
And that
sound like Gaza?
For those that don't know, the UN has a long history of conducting or aiding massacres.
Don't sound like Gaza?
Sri Lanka to Burma to Rwanda. But they have this giant PR operation. They're this loving, peaceful organization.
And they're not.
Networks lie to you about what's happening now.
And the thing is, they use your emotions to dictate your behaviors and shit. So they pull on your heartstrings in anticipation of you doing what the fuck they say out of emotion.
Producer censored for standing up against the New World Order. We're talking to her in a few minutes.
Thing at live.
Yo, have you talked to Alex Jones?
Not yet.
You gotta, I feel like
He owes me a career.
Yeah.
He owes me my music career back. Because he is the guy that my last record was cancelled over.
Why? What
The
happened?
day I said that tweet happens to be the day that my record was going to be released to the world.
What was the tweet?
It was about lies on the internet, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, people can't be fined $1 billion for lying because so many people lie.
Yeah.
Like I can think of like 25 people that needs to be fined $1 billion right now.
Every president we've had.
That has been detrimental to humanity, you know.
Right.
Not just the emotional suffering of families that were
affected and
part
inflicted.
of this incident. But lies that have changed the course of humanity.
Yeah, they engineer the narrative of
Yes.
life. Yeah.
So I was kind of like, wow, this is amazing.
Right.
I was actually thinking of it in a positive way. I wasn't defending him. I was like, yo, if we're going to find people for lying, this is a great thing. Let's go and make that list, you know? And let's go and find people. And,
What happened to your record?
and they pulled my record.
When was this?
Cancelled.
That was 4 years ago?
No, this was October 2022.
So wait. Wow. Who was they though?
I'm walking out.
Tim Pool tried to get her.
Nice.
Tim Pool tried to get her.
No, you said
Who are they?
the record label.
The record label, yeah.
They canceled your album.
Yes.
He noticed Tim Pool using they.
was
That's because
on
Tim
island.
Pool.
Yeah. I was on island.
Quiet as kept, folks. Tim Pool is a puppet for the globalists, man. It's the only way you make it that big.
And I got dropped off all the magazine covers.
Without getting censored.
You know, like GQ dropped my cover. I think people from Vogue and stuff like that. There was loads of press lined up and everybody cancelled it.
It's worth noting this is not the first time you've pissed off entire portions of the world.
Fly like paper, get
No, it
high like
happens
planes.
on a regular basis.
Happens on a regular basis, man. People
Well,
get
good for
canceled.
her, because the entire global political power structure, Hollywood, all of it, the music industry is collapsing.
Yes,
the
Satan
world is
is
awake. So I've been
spawned.
aware of her for many years. Actually liked her music. My older daughter's a big fan, was aware of her stand against the poison shots, her stand for free speech, and so much more. MIA Universe on X, MIA Universe, and OHMNI.com. And she joins us here. Here's some of the headlines, just recent ones. Pop star MIA dropped from GQ Awards after tweet defending Alex Jones.
And she just said it wasn't defending him. She was like, all right, let's catch
MIA
everybody
will not
doing
let
it.
us forget she's anti-vax. How dare her? MIA has more unfounded doubts about the safety of the COVID-19 vax. That's from a couple years ago.
vaxxers.
Boy, hasn't she been vindicated? Hasn't she been validated?
December 31st, 22.
So good for her
MIA
not being
claims her
part of
beliefs.
this murder machine. And then
Gotta
today,
cancel.
she was going to post, I guess this is on Instagram.
Oh, she posted it
about coming on the
SM102.
show, and they tried to block that.
Oh,
and
shit.
censor that.
SM102,
Censor her post
the
that we've also
cancer
reposted
causing
at Real
adjuvant.
Alex Jones. So she had courage early on. I mean, she's been talking about this stuff for many years, I'm aware of. And now, she's paid the price, but that's good because now we know she's not part of the evil operation.
Yeah, we ain't got to get you too, bitch.
So, MIA, great to have you with us.
Because you're going to be with us getting them.
Hi. Great to be here.
It's great to have you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you great. Where do you want to start?
I want to start with how my Martyr album was martyred. So when I
you called it Martyr for a reason.
Was about to release my last record.
You set that up
Martyr,
perfectly,
and
you proved yourself. You've been vindicated.
Kind of the release date coincided with the verdict on the your verdict when you're fined for $1 billion. And as I was about to post about my album, I saw the headline about you, and then since then I've been kind of thrown into this full circle. Candace Owen invited me on her show because of that tweet, and then obviously I went on Tim Pool, and then now I've kind of connected back to the source of my problem.
Alex Jones.
So yeah, you tell me. Where do you want to start?
Well, I don't think this is a problem. I think that this is good that you instinctively stood up to evil. I know you've had an interesting political background. You've been around the world. You've seen a lot of things because I've followed your work. You might talk about how long you've been awake, but it's a good problem to be standing with humanity, in my view.
Facts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Shit, nigga, I got the same motherfucking problem.
For life.
Yo, and we out of time, man. Y'all should go check that shit out over at Infowars.com or band.video. Since Platinum Artist and MIA joins Alex Jones live on air for an epic interview and shit. I heard most of it live on air and shit, so ain't no reason for me to really. But I'm up out of here, man. I fucking love y'all. Thank you for your ear space. I'll be back on the other side to close this out. You already know it's your boy. You know what? Fuck cancel culture. Fuck anybody that's trying to cancel a motherfucker. You know what? Anybody out there that want me canceled and shit, they go fuck yourself. Matter of fact, Elon, tell him for me. Go fuck yourself. Tell him to go fuck yourself, Elon.
There was all of the criticism. There was advertisers leaving. We talked to Bob Iger
I hope
today.
they stop.
You hope?
Don't advertise.
You don't want them to advertise?
No.
What do you mean?
Go fuck yourself.
Fuck them.
Is somebody going to try to blackmail me with advertising? Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
Fuck them.
Go fuck yourself. Is that clear? Hey, Bob. Actually, what this advertising boycott is going to do, it's going to kill the company. And the whole world will know that those advertisers killed the company. And we will document it in great detail. Let's see how Earth responds. And it'll be gone because of an advertising boycott. The judge is the public.
And you think that the public is going to say that Disney is making a mistake?
Yes.
And they're going to boycott Disney?
They already are. Is this coming across? Let the chips fall where they may. Go fuck yourself.
Fuck them.
Is somebody going to try to blackmail me with advertising? Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
Fuck them.
Go fuck yourself. Is that clear? Hey, Bob. I'm sorry for that pre-intro post. It was foolish of me. Of the 30,000, it might be literally the worst and dumbest post that I've ever done. And what I see all over the place is people care about looking good while doing evil. Fuck them. Okay? Fuck them. Fuck them. Okay? Fuck them. Go fuck yourself. Fuck them. Is somebody going to try to blackmail me with advertising? Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Fuck them. Go fuck yourself. Is that clear? Hey, Bob.
Now listen, if you have not subscribed to YouTube channel, do it right now. Do it today. And all you have to do is click the big red subscribe button on the YouTube channel.
Let's go. I want to say thanks for coming through, man. Thanks for hanging with your boy. Thanks for being willing to learn something, man. Thanks for You know what I'm saying? Like, just having an open mind and shit. We really appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? Bro, it really gets no better than, you know, having the camaraderie of you guys to, you know, just to sit back and relax and have these intelligent conversations and literally learn something and spread the word and try to save others and shit. Y'all know the goal of the show. We could just save one person, and our job is getting motherfucking done out this motherfucker. You already know. I love y'all. I want to see the best for y'all. I'm hoping that, you know, everybody have a good Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. I'm recording on Sunday. It's actually like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, so I get the rest of my night to myself. I ain't got to worry about doing no more shows. I done knocked out Craken-time-podcast. This is Civilian Talk Podcast, and I am so blessed. You already know. Thank you. I really appreciate you. Keep your head up. I know it ain't easy being greasy and shit, but sometimes you gotta be greasy to keep it easy around this motherfucker. You already know. Yeah, man. You know, just keep doing your thing. Keep letting it hang and swing and shit. And, it's your boy, Mr. P.I. bring you that civilian talk. Please wake up America News, because if we don't wake up today, we may not have an America to wake up to tomorrow. And that is so real. So real. Oh, God. So real. But I fucking love y'all, and I'm going to see you when I see you. I'm going to catch you when I catch you. And stay the fuck out the way, please. It's your boy.
Today's episode was brought to you by Civilian Talk Radio.
Yo, it's your boy, Mr. P. I want to tell y'all, man, we got the podcast player over there at civiliantalkpodcast.com now, you know what I'm saying? All you got to do is hit the check out the podcast button. There's a nice big old player over there, you know what I'm saying? You can check out as many episodes as you want, and we going to be over there waiting for y'all, you know what I'm saying? We done streamlined it, so you don't have to go to your, you know, your favorite podcast outlet no more. You don't have to sign in to Spotify or iHeartRadio or iTunes. You can just go over to civiliantalkpodcast.com, and if it's not another link, you can just press the episode you want and press play, and you already know. It's your boy.